Hi guys, Liana here, playing Assassin's Creed Unity. Why I'm playing this game again, on that in a bit. This is the first installment of Tatas Tuesdays. I'm trying to structure my YouTube channel a little bit. Not every day, I still want the freedom to, you know, talk about what I want, but doing daily content is a grind, and, you know, obviously people can't do daily content on a truly daily basis, so sometimes we have to record in advance to... what the heck happened there? Oh well, it's fun. Don't shoot me. Being shot's not fun. But YouTube's been a real pain lately, so I've been pre-recording my stuff a day in advance this week because I figure that's better than not knowing when things are going to be put up and making you guys wait until midnight to have a video on Monday. Because if it's on midnight Monday, it's not really Monday, it's Tuesday. So I'm pre-recording the content, and I find it's easier to pre-record the content if there's a topic. So, you know, it makes sense why I'm talking about this on this day and why I'm talking about something else on another day. It gives me the opportunity to cover up a little bit of lag in coverage just because of technological limitations. Speaking of technological limitations, update on where your Patreon money is going. So, I have been in the process using the Patreon money you've kindly pledged to me, thank you for that, to upgrade my gaming PC. Now, phase one's complete. There's a new processor put in, a new motherboard. The whole thing had to almost be rebuilt from scratch. The only thing that... oh, go away. The only thing that is left of the old computer is some of the wires, the CD drive, the case, and the video card, because the video card costs, it's the second most expensive component outside of the processor, and it didn't make sense to replace the video card before the processor. So why is everybody hating on me? But oh, that's why there's a chest there. Oopsie. Oh, that's a dude too. You guys may have noticed what's going on with the Canadian dollar if you follow world events at all. Basically, our dollar lost a quarter of its value in a matter of months. So all of a sudden, that PC upgrade I was really looking forward to has cost much more than I intended it to. So I intended to have PC videos ready to stream by now. It's going to have to wait until next month because, yes, I did buy a bunch of upgrades. The video card is still not new enough. It works fine, but it's not new enough for the capture hardware to accept it. So I have to replace that, and because everything's so much bigger now, I'm probably going to have to replace the case and put everything back in. So I'm going to have to rebuild my computer all over again in terms of hardware architecture. Just for one blinking part. Because right now the video card is nearly touching the board, the motherboard, and that's making me more than a little uncomfortable. So, and I bet those guys are feeling the hurt now too. But yeah, so that's what's going on with streaming PC games. I am still working on it. There has been progress. We're just not quite there yet. So, and Unity's nice. Unity's a pretty game. I like it. I know everybody's really down on it. It's sort of this punchline for what's wrong with the industry. But I like the game. I like the story. And what I especially like is the character of Rose in this game. I really like Rose. And I'm just picking up a quest here. Drop. Don't dance. Arno, drop. There. For want of a nail. Accept and track. Assassinate your target. Alright. I like they finally put assassinations in this game. Because there was a bit of a want of assassinations in Assassin's Creed Unity. But, I mean, the crowds in this game are still some of the most glorious things I've ever seen. I mean, this is the reason this game exists, for this crowd stuff. I mean, this is the first truly next-gen thing. I am not impressed by sheer quality of graphics resolution in a computer game. Graphics have to do something.
I have no idea what you're doing.
And to me, why didn't that double assassinate? You suck. Solved easily enough. So, you know, it's not enough for me to stuff just look really pretty. What does it do? And the crowds in this game are just... It must make PC players just have conniptions, because I'm sure, although, you know, the specs on the PS4 aren't that high, so who knows? I mean, whoa! He disappeared! I'm hallucinating! See, I don't care about that. That doesn't really affect my gameplay experience at all. And so there's just one of these cockade. I said cock. That really doesn't affect my gameplay experience at all. It's a little burp. I don't care. If it gets in the way of me playing the game, then I care about a little graphics hiccup like that, a little bug. I know it drives some people crazy. I really don't care. You have to play it so safe to create a game with none of those little imperfect moments. I would much rather give developers license to experiment and swing for the fences and possibly strike out. No, you know what? I was right the first time. Probably strike out every so often. But so that's a little bit about me. Now, what are we talking about in terms of tatas this week? Oh, there's people in here. Just walked into a sausage party. So the thing about tatas this week is I've been thinking a lot, and I mean, let's face it, everybody's been thinking a lot lately about harassment against women on the internet. Because let's face it, it's become something of an industry obsession. And to me, I think that actually makes us better than other industries, because the issues we're talking about in gaming don't just exist in gaming. So what does it say that other specialties are not talking about this issue? Huh? You consider that? Bet you didn't think about that. And, you know, people have been, you know, clutching their pearls and gnashing their teeth about guilty until proven innocent. You are reading my mind, game. You know, people have been tearing at their garments and gnashing of teeth and about solutions. When, you know, I think we really haven't truly identified what the problem is. And that's the thing, is I'll go back to my old women are people stump speech. And it's terrible. Isn't it terrible that I feel the need to say that? Women are people? You know, this idea, no, we're not a strange alien species. We are not totally separate and different from men. There's a lot of crossover between men and women. Men are people, women are people. And this seems like, you know, the obvious. But it's amazing how many people don't consider this when they form their opinions, that women are people. And that means some of us are good, and some of us are bad, and some of us are honest, and some of us are dishonest. We are fallible, right? The other important thing that people don't keep in mind is that women are individuals. And for the purposes of demographic research, women are lumped in together way more than men, partially because there's few of us, relative few of us in the industry compared to men, so every one of us becomes unfairly indicative about what the rest of us are doing, and that's not the person's fault. There's an abnormal amount of scrutiny inherent in that. But you know, women are individuals. I have to say that. We have to keep that in mind. So what do we do about the harassment against women? Well, that's too big a problem to really solve, isn't it? Because too big a problem and it's half a problem at the same time. Because since women are people and women are individuals, we should be having a discussion that will benefit everybody about what do we do about the harassment of people in terms of identifiable groups and the harassment of individuals in terms of what happens when one person, for some reason or another, usually e-fame, becomes the target of too much attention. And the thing I think a lot of people need to understand is that it's not just, you know, the big bad stereotypical harassment that people think of online. Any amount of attention, large mass attention that someone hasn't sought out can seem incredibly overwhelming. And I think if there was a greater understanding of this, we could stop these stupid petty fights online of whether someone was really harassed. And there's a lot of factors muddying the waters. Sorry, I laugh every time I see cockade. And I swear they put it in the game for that reason. No, that's what it was really called. They were being historically accurate. It just has a side benefit of being funny. But I bet it's cockade pronounced because it's French. And I'm just being an Anglophone idiot right now. But that's okay. Being an Anglophone idiot is fun. But the thing about... I'm becoming increasingly uncomfortable, and I understand, on the one hand, why there is such grave cause for concern about the lack of women in the video game industry. And that is, you know, saying there is a lack of women or a deficit of women is actually stating an opinion. That's what happened there. That's something I'm fully prepared to admit. It is, we have to sort of collectively assume that it is a deficit and not the rightful state of things. Because when you start getting into what's normal or what's moral or all this stuff, it starts getting super messy. How do I get, oh, there's a, okay. Can I actually, no guts, no glory. Wee-hee. No, I'm gonna die. Oh, yeah, that sucked. There was a hay bale right there. So, yes, it is an assumption that there is a lack or deficit of women in the industry. Some people say, well, women just aren't interested in getting into games. Now, that's not true, but this is what a lot of people legitimately believe. They've seen either opinion pieces or studies that indicate that there is a lack of interest in pursuing game design as a career. And I personally think that has something to do with lifestyle. And I think that the fact that there is an unhealthy lifestyle associated with gaming is something that, again, we should be concerned about because it affects people. Hey, look, my online features are back on. Hey, thanks, Uplay. But, whoopsie. But if the working conditions in gaming are so horrid that women are rightly going, that's crazy. Who would do this? This is insane. Well, doesn't that indicate we need to do something about the working conditions in the industry? Like, this is an indication, this is an example of a time where the lack of women can serve as, you know, almost a canary in a mine shaft to point out a problem that needs to be fixed for the benefit of everyone. And I think that's true about harassment as well. If women shouldn't be expected to take it, neither should men. And I absolutely agree with that. No one should be forced to take the sheer amount of online abuse that people are subjected to just for writing about games. And what I believe after watching this for, 2 months and deliberately prodding some people to see how they respond, testing discourse. Because that's what I do. And it's funny how I've been doing it long enough that people should see it by now, I think. I think I'm being completely transparent that I'm saying certain things just to test the reaction of people. Not trying to get a reaction. I'm not trolling. It's not the same. I'm testing the reaction. If I say this time, how will people respond? And social networking seems to be more and more a game of dueling assumptions. And unfortunately, the place most people start off from is the assumption that the person that they disagree with is an evil son of a bitch. And obviously that's a really unproductive place to start. And that should be common sense. But the thing about common sense is that common sense is neither common nor sense. I'm rusty. So that's an important thing to keep in mind is if you're, wait, I don't want this, I want the easier one because I'm walking and talking. That's the interesting thing to me is that I assassinate anyone preaching to a crowd of, okay. All right. Sorry, Sam Culotte, I'm going to break up your party. I think that one of the fundamental mistakes fundamental mistakes people make when starting a conversation online. You're an asshole. Now let's have a respectful discussion about things. No, it doesn't bloody work that way. You can't start off by insulting someone and expect them to be the bigger person and talk to you. People are not required to give you their time on the internet. And I see a lot of this. Someone will scream at someone, defame them, say horrible things about them, and then expect the other person to be more mature than they are. Or then, let's have a coffee and talk after you've just been burning them in effigy on the internet for months. Why don't you have the coffee before you start railing against the person? I mean, I know I start talking about something online when I think there's no recourse otherwise, or when I think it's harmless. Now, it's really hard to tell when something's harmless or not online, and that's the other thing. I mean, there's a lot of assumptions that go on in online discussions, and that leads to, believe it or not, a lot of unintentional harassment. Harassment is a perceptive thing. It's someone is harassed when they feel harassed, right? And this silly argument of you're not really harassed, well, it doesn't matter if you think it's legitimate or not. What matters is the person is saying, I no longer want to engage in this conversation, and that is their right. See, I don't want to fight these guys, but they're forcing me to. They're harassing me. Come on. I don't remember how to block. Oh, parry is. Okay, good. Circle. So, step one, Step one, if someone says stop, stop. It doesn't matter how right you think you are. If they don't want to talk to you, you are not entitled to their time. And that's something a lot of people get wrong on the internet. They think you are a public person, therefore you have to talk to me because I indirectly pay your salary, even though I use ad block and a whole bunch of other ways, archives and all that stuff. So you're not really getting a click from me reading your stuff. And I think it's so funny on subreddits, they even archive the stuff they support. So people clicking through reading the stuff, the people are not benefiting from their fans through traffic. It's one of those absurd Kafka's things about the internet. But that's fallacy number one. That anyone is entitled to anyone's time. You're not. You're just not. You have to, you know, agree to some basic human agreements. That's why you agree. That's why they're called agreements, because you agree. And see, that guy did not agree for me to kill him. Therefore, I was harassing him. But there's this idea that if someone is on Twitter, then they are giving passive permission for you to say anything you want to them. The fact that trolls have become, the fact that trolls have become de facto folk heroes in a lot of places has just taken the entire discourse of the internet and destroyed it through copycat syndrome. And people insist, oh, you can't have a meaningful conversation on Twitter. No, I have. I've had some very interesting conversations on Twitter, 140 characters at a time. But, you know, that is because both parties agreed, or, you know, multiple parties agreed to respect each other's dignity and each other's boundaries as people. It really is that simple. If you start a conversation from an antagonistic place, expect it to become antagonistic. It's such common sense, but people are like, yeah, I was a dick to you, but you're a professional. You're supposed to be able to handle it. Being a professional does not mean you are a sponge that absorbs abuse, right? And people feel so small in their daily lives that they seem to have this urge to act big online. And, you know, obviously the easiest, quickest way to feel temporarily powerful is to act like a bully. And there's no right or wrong with that. That's just that, you know, the internet didn't create that. That's been an element of human nature for a really long time. And so, you know, women have the, I don't know, awareness or social license or whatever you want to call it to say, no, this isn't right. Men feel like they need to take it. And I don't think anybody should need to take it. And I don't believe in, you know, there are certain things when you're talking about gender that are differences, and those are important to acknowledge and talk about. But I think that in terms of what is appropriate treatment for a person in, God, you know, even in a personal setting, even in, you know, between two people or in a romantic relationship or a sexual relationship, because let's face it, romance is pretty much dead. People are after the sex now. Very few people actually give a shit about romance. And that's one of the things I love about Assassin's Creed Unity, is it's actually a game that deals with romance. It's not how many people can I bed. And I really like that. It's a refreshing change. It's actually a story about two people who care about each other, like really care about each other, not just think they're hot. I'm so sick of this hot thing. I couldn't give a crap whether someone thinks I'm hot. I'm not a hot pocket. I'm a freaking human being. You know, I'm not a toaster pastry. I don't need a particular internal core temperature. Well, I guess I do, or else I have hypothermia, but you know what I mean. There's no cooking instructions on the box with a human being. But we're so obsessed with hot that we've become increasingly unaware of respect. And that, I think, is where a lot of this harassment problem is coming from. I think it's covering up, it's covering up a core root problem that we're not addressing because we're too busy looking at the symptoms. And obviously I can't get into all of this and, you know, get your gun out of my face. You are harassing me. You know, obviously I can't solve this issue in a less than 30 minutes, I hope, video. But I can at least get it started, and I can give you a few things to think about that maybe you otherwise haven't considered. And that's what I look to do when it's issues of gender. And it really amazes me how many people come across an idea that conflicts with their own and just go, no, this conflicts with what I've seen before, so it has to be wrong. Well, that's an assumption, isn't it? And that's that's an assumption that can lead you to false conclusions, faulty conclusions. False was the wrong word there. And this is such a huge, I beat the quest. This is such a huge issue. And we're not going, and it's actually a collection of issues, as I just said. And we're not going to solve it through 1,200-word articles on the internet and a bunch of angry tweets. It's really funny to me that people are trying to solve a problem that is essentially rooted in righteous indignation with more righteous indignation. It doesn't work, And I think we do have to take a good hard look at, women as people and women as individuals. And as I said, look at the harassment of women as only one half of the harassment equation, because, there's another 50% of the human race that also gets harassed online, men. And, I can understand why guys are like, well, why should women be exempt from it if I have to take it? Isn't it supposed to be about equality? Well, yeah, that's sound logic. And then people get divided of, well, everyone should just have to grow a thicker skin, which I'm seeing a reduction in, which is good. But, there's people who just, it's the internet, you can't change it. Well, that's a failure to observe human history. The only constant is change when you're dealing with people. Social norms can be changed. That's why they're social norms and not, Even animal instinct can change based on enough time and conditioning and So this whole idea is there's nothing we can do. That's just people. It's just human nature. Human beings are the most adaptable species on the planet. So saying it's just the way it is, you can't change the internet, is a cop-out. It's failing to play to the strengths of humanity. And so I think we do need real conversations, and I think it begins with everybody else. I think the thing that people can do, every individual, because what can I do? I'm a nobody. Well, if everyone, first of all, that's not true. Everyone's a somebody. Everybody means something to someone. We just don't tend to be very good at recognizing our worth, because we're encouraged not to. Because, right, if you're appreciated at work, they might have to pay you more, heaven forbid. And if you're appreciated at home, well, you might start slacking. It's this whole idea of we're so busy preparing to jump at shadows, we never see the light. And I think that's a big part of it. We are so negatively focused. Modern discourse is so negatively focused about problems and not focusing on, okay, what do we get right and how can we build from that? And you'll notice that's how I started this conversation, is that I think gaming is ahead of the curve in discussing and dealing with its communication issues. That's great. I mean, God, TV and radio and other forms of media have been sweeping this issue under the rug for years. Gamers are tackling it head on. And people say some ragingly stupid things in the process, but that's better than saying nothing. I really believe that. I think saying something and being wrong is much more productive, because then you might learn something if you're willing to listen. And I think that people need to put away the studies and put away the what they think they know and start listening to the people right in front of them. And it's amazing how controversial that idea is. So I'll leave you with that for Tatas Tuesdays. Not very sexy, Tatas Tuesdays. I'm going to have to work on that. Well, sometimes it'll be sexy, sometimes it won't. That's life. But thank you for listening. Thanks for being a part of my YouTube channel. And if you like what you hear, subscribe. Thanks, guys.